Hello, hello, and welcome to This Week Training Tuesday, where we're talking all about fan ads or Facebook Audience Network. Welcome to all of you that are watching this replay and those of you who are joining us live. We are magnet marketers, and our goal is to always help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. If we've not met before, I'm Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group in the Relationship Marketing System. I'm my awesome co-host, Mike Gingrich. He's the president of Digital Hill, the co-founder of the popular apps of Loftio, Tab Site, and published author extraordinaire. You'll learn a lot more about us today, hopefully, and we look forward to connecting with you today through the show and after if you'd like to stay in touch. But today we're going to dive into Facebook Audience Network, maybe one of the ad platforms that you have not heard of or potentially have not tried out with Facebook, and why we think you should. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, doing well, and yeah, excited about this topic just because I think that this really offers a lot of power, potential, and possibilities. You like that? The three Ps.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. The three.
Right out of the cuff there.
Yeah. For marketers on Facebook, for small, medium-sized businesses, I think this really offers something of value, and we just want to, kind of dive into some of the details, what it is, why it matters, and, some of the strategies involved there. But we have a couple statistics to start off with today. Let's see, 40% of top 500 apps are integrated with this audience network. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the major apps are adopting this. And so there's just a trend to pay attention to. So we want to take a look at that. There's 16% more reach on average globally than on Facebook and Instagram alone when using the Facebook Audience Network. All right, so hopefully I'm raising your curiosity levels to take a look at this. And more importantly, 12% increase in website conversions. Okay, so it's something happening, that purchase, that filling out that form on your website when using with Facebook and the Audience Network combined. So it's raising that ROI, that impact level, and that's why this is key. So if we have to kind of get started here in terms of what is Facebook Audience Network, and so it's within the Facebook ad system, all right, but it more specifically allows advertisers like you, like me, to advertise off of Facebook onto the web with the exact same targeting features that we use on the platform. So not just advertising on Facebook itself, but extending that out. So we can get into apps, we can get into websites, we can get into things that are out there that, so, I mean, a direct challenge to Google, okay, because we're using all that demographic targeting, all of the details that we get within Facebook ads. And now we can use that to target those audiences, the audience network, get it? Okay, so you're customizing whatever you want to target with that audience and reaching them off site. And I think that I was going to say it offers the possibility for generating more revenue, but I just showed you some statistics that are showing that there is an increase, that they're seeing more benefits when these are combined. So what we want to do today is talk a little bit more about this and why it's important. And I think that we're trying to help you elevate your game. I mean, when you first get into Facebook ads, the boost post is kind of the base level of Facebook ads that you start with, and it's maybe it's to get more fans on your page or reach more of your fans and that type of thing. And that is, again, that's a base level, and that can have value in certain settings. But with this, we can kind of ramp it up a few notches, and we can kind of, and we want you to think strategically about this, so how these pieces can fit together. So that's a little bit about, there's three types. We kind of go into those details of the visual ads that you can use with Facebook's Audience Network. And again, so thinking, you've been on a website, like a news website, right? These are often the case there, and you see like a banner ad, and typically those have always been delivered by Google and that type of thing. But now to be able to see these start being delivered by Facebook. So a banner that shows up at the bottom of the screen, a native ad that appears in an article, so that there's more pieces and possibilities here. And I think that Why does it matter? It's because, sometimes we get that question that, well, what's my audience? My audience, we're B2B. Our audience might not be on Facebook. They're not doing business. They're not thinking about that here. Okay. However, now we can reach them out there on the World Wide Web, kind of and in app that they're using, apps that they're using, that type of thing. So we are not bound by just within Facebook system itself, but we can go beyond that. So that's a little bit of introduction. I'm going to let Jessica, I'm going to let you add on to that, and then keep us going.
Yeah, no, you covered it perfect. So Facebook Audience Network, I mean, why are we advertising on Facebook? We want our ideal audience to see our content and to see our pages and to connect with us and to start that relationship. And when done right, you want to target your ideal audience, which that's where Facebook wins. I mean, you can seriously drill down to the nitty-gritty specifics of who you want to connect with. So Facebook definitely hands down wins when it comes to knowing your audience and knowing what your audience likes, wants to see, and where their eyeballs are going. And they also have this benefit with the Facebook Audience Network, which we'll dive in a little bit more into, in knowing that it's real people, so not bots. So they are attaching this to real people that are going to see your ads. But to Mike's point, some people have had a concern on, hey, I don't want to just put my ads on Facebook and maybe the news feed where it's so saturated, or on that right-hand sidebar where nobody's really looking or paying attention, at least in my opinion. But I do want to follow them around and I do want them to see my content. So what better way of putting your content out there that's going to follow them around on sites that they are spending time and are reading, because they're going not to where you're trying to push the content, but where your client or potential client is going, what they're reading, what they're watching, what they're already engaged with. That's where that ad would go, and it's going to fall a lot more naturally into a place that they're wanting to actually get content versus potentially the news stream where they're wanting to see updates from friends and family. Now, don't get me wrong, it would still show up there potentially, but you can get them when they're hanging out and reading a blog article or watching a video, or get this, Pandora, the Weather Channel, the top 500 app sites your content is going to be on. So if you want to look a little bit bigger than your company, maybe you're a smaller brand, have your ad show up on the Weather Channel or Pandora. It's going to give you a little bit more credibility, and you're like, wait a minute, I know that. That's my local fill in the blank, right? So that's where Facebook Audience Network definitely does have a hands down clear win advantage with using this tool versus just using, like Mike said, a soft boost where you're just spraying it out there and praying and hoping it works, or the worst thing that you could possibly ever do is just set up an ad to get more likes for your page, because then you will get likes on your page, but not necessarily people that care about what you're talking about. So Facebook Audience Network, that's where you should definitely be spending some of your ad dollars, if not all of your ad dollars. We've had case-by-case comparison on how it's performing against others, and Mike shared that stat by Facebook themselves in comparison with some of the other ads out there, and they're hands down clear winner, not just with performance, but also with lead conversions, which that's why we're advertising. So definitely huge fan, no pun intended, of Facebook fan ads. Yeah. But
yeah.
Now,
okay. Maybe you want to go into a little bit more detail there on the concept of following somebody around. So what is the first step that's going to have to take place so that could take place?
Well, to follow them around, so there is a remarketing aspect to that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. That's one thing that you could do. So if you're thinking of following them around as in remarketing, you could set up your ad to say, hey, anybody that's checked out my event, checked out my website, checked out my Facebook page, or checked out a page of someone else that I am wanting to target, then you could have this follow them around. So if we've all been there, well, at least I have more often than not, been looking at some shoes on Amazon, or looking at something that I'm thinking about purchasing, but not quite ready to swipe the card, so to speak, and those shoes follow me around everywhere until they wear me down and I buy it. So that's kind of the following around aspect. We've all been there with whatever product that is. So that's definitely one aspect of following them around. You can set up some tracking in place to make sure that you are following back to a client, or maybe they're checked out your app on your site and it's following you around that way. So what would have to take place is you'd have to visit one of those things or meet the criteria set at the beginning of, hey, I want to target people who have done X.
Yep.
When you set up the ad.
Yeah. For me, it's bicycle racing gear. Okay, so that's what follows me around the web wherever I go. So on these things,
yeah. Wears you down, doesn't it?
Yes,
like you just like you broke me down.
All I wanted to know was what the weather was going to be today, and now I'm buying some new bike racing gloves. So yeah.
That's when you say it's meant to be. The ad was here when I needed it. At least that's what I tell myself when I click then purchase.
But I think another interesting fact is that Facebook is so bullish on these and done the data research that they're actually going to warn you that your cost per conversion, could actually be higher if you turn these off. I mean, it's an optional type of ad within there, but they're letting you know that this is a lower cost option for your ads. So I think that's very important to know, because we're all about keeping the most bang for a buck.
Yeah, because there's some pros and cons to this, but first let's preface on what you can do with the Facebook audience ads. What kinds of ads can you show up? Because there's different types of ads. Any of you that have created an ad outside of the Facebook page manager, where it just gives you like the boost and the like ads and the local awareness, there are a whole other slew of options, which we can put a link in here, that you can create within the ads manager or within a third-party tool like an Ad Espresso or what's the other one? The Power Editor. Another tool like that to create ads. The ads that you can create within using the Facebook Audience Network now are the website clicks. So taking them back to your website, that would be a perfect one to kind of follow people around, if you will, especially if you have an e-commerce site built in. You can do website conversions. So if you are wanting people to opt in exchange for their name and email, you could do a Facebook Audience Network ad for that. So I'll give you a good example of this. We are doing one for one of our clients, geothermal business, and they want to give you the answers to questions about geothermal. Is it worth the investment, or how much does geothermal cost? So you can, if you've checked that out, you could get that guidebook in exchange for your name and email address, and then they are going to send you that guidebook. Now, here's another step to that. Actually, Facebook has rolled out Canvas within this, not to confuse the fan and Canvas, because they can work together. So Canvas is basically creating a mini website within your ad to where you can actually have the full lead conversion process, everything take place without someone technically leaving Facebook. So you could have them get that guide and everything right there, and you can have them stay still within Facebook, so not feel like they're leaving the app. And so you can definitely do those conversions, and I'll put some links to give you some more info on that. But mobile app installs, mobile app engagement, dynamic ads, and I'm sure I'm forgetting one, video, definitely a huge one. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Video ads will appear through a video stream. And I can give you a little example of this, and that is, again, I was on a newspaper website, right? So, and all of a sudden, Michael Stelzner started talking to me, and he told me that I still need to register for Social Media Marketing World 2018. So it was video.
Creepy.
I was like, wait, what, Michael, what are you doing here? But yeah, there he was, and they were using him. So I was out there on the web, the World Wide Web, and there he was delivering
Yeah.
an ad to me about social media marketing in 2018.
You and I did this as well. I don't know. I think you knew about this. You and I created a Facebook video. So you and I were asked to be social media marketing world hotel ambassadors. So what I did is target people that were staying at the Embassy Suites and also attending social media marketing world with our video ad. Didn't have a huge budget behind it, but it was a nice little welcome introduction to Mike and I, and wanted to introduce ourselves and tell people that we were going to be the hotel ambassador. So I was playing around with Facebook Audience Network at that time, so targeted that out, and then we invited them to join our group as a result of that. So two great examples, ways that you can use this to really drill down to get your message in front of the right people. And then how did you feel? I mean, you're like, that was custom made for me, right? It was like, that was made for me. It didn't feel like marketing that was bullhorn. It was very much drawing you in because it's something that you care about and what you were searching and already kind of on your radar, if you will.
Yes, yeah,
So,
and that's what it's about. It's that follow up.
mm-hmm.
It's the that opportunity to connect with them. If it takes multiple points of contact, and now we have ways to reach them. And I think you mentioned it before, but this can be a good timing type opportunity to reach them because maybe they're not on Facebook at that point in time. They are doing something different. They're in a app. They are on a website, and so you're following up with them. It's kind of bringing that whole experience around. Now, some people can say, "Oh, that's that's intrusive. That's creepy that you could do those kind of things." That, folks, is the stage of targeted marketing today. Welcome to the world where we can get in front of those and we can follow up with somebody and we can begin to get to know them. And that's the opportunities, the possibilities that we have today.
Minority Report is coming, let's just say. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't, no.
Minority? You haven't? Okay, you got to watch it. Anybody else that's seen Minority Report knows what I'm talking about. It's where Tom Cruise, he goes into the store and it's like, welcome so-and-so. It's like the facial recognition, and the ads are speaking directly to them and saying, hey, are you coming back for those khakis? Some more of those khakis that you got last time. So honestly, I think that's where the ads are coming, and it's kind of like that when you get drilled down specific on what somebody's wanting. Before we go on the pros and cons, I just want to welcome a few people that are watching us live that I've seen have commented. Welcome, Trey Wheeler. Good seeing you on here. Welcome, Cheval. Good to see you and have you join in with us as well. And if anyone else is on here watching, welcome you as well. You can comment and let us know that you're here.
Absolutely. Facebook Audience Network is the topic today, folks. And do you want to dive into your first pro?
Sure. Yeah. So I kind of alluded to this when we were first getting started, but Audience Network is a close to fraud-free, meaning that you're not going to have that bot traffic as possible. Facebook has claimed, and I'm going to put the link here so it's not just me saying this, that they are as close to fraud-free as you can get. So it doesn't have the bot traffic, so you know it's real people and real connections that are engaging with your ad. And not just that, when we were talking about mentioning like Canvas ads, they're saying that an average person, 53% of people are connecting with that, and that they're spending over 35 seconds on there, which means that they're paying attention to the ad. I mean, if you think about 35 seconds is a longer period of time before they click over, right? So usually it's like swipe, and maybe you get the 3 second and then they keep swiping, but 30 plus seconds is a win for an ad and looking at it, depending on what your ad is, of course. And then we already mentioned the conversion. So definitely if you can get real people that care about what you're talking about, which 30 something seconds says that they do, and that extra conversion rate of real people, that, the 12% more, that's 3 wins in my book right away for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, when you think about it, I don't know if anyone else, you watch a YouTube video and there's the short ones, 6 seconds kind of thing, and, I can tolerate those. Then the 15-second ones, those can, I'm just like, but for someone to
YouTube
to stop,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
someone to stop and take 35 seconds to spend with that, that means that it really, you have intersected with them. You have captured
Mm-hmm.
their attention. They have chosen to participate and stay there. That's impressive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That is a big definite win with Facebook Audience Network and them staying there. I would say the cost per click is lower too. So, I mean, if you're budget conscious and you only have $50 or $100, let's just say, to spend on your ads, you know that your ads are going to the right people and it's going to be less expensive because you have more people to pull from. I know we mentioned this a couple weeks ago where we were talking about I forget what the stat was, and I don't want to misquote it, but it's like a very few fraction of people that are actually using Facebook ads right now, but they're almost out of space on the network itself. So it makes sense that they're going to give you lower cost per engagement and lower cost ads if they can expand now to potentially these 500 other top apps, and more are added all the time. But it's going to make sense that your ad cost is going to go down because it's not as competitive. They have more bandwidth, if you will, to display your ad right within there.
Yep. Okay. Yes. So, I mean, places such as, I mean, you kind of mentioned a few of those, but Spotify being another example of an app there that can really be a beneficial. So
Okay.
just trying to think of some things that where people are spending time. But you said some of the top 500 apps that you can use. So lots of possibilities there.
Yeah, there is some downside to that, I would say. So if we move on to the negative, the only thing I don't like about this, and one thing that our clients has asked, is can you tell me where our ads have shown? So were they on Spotify with this song playing or whatever, or were they on, the Weather Channel on this date? So you don't have a play-by-play of where your ads are showing up, which is kind of hard, you have to catch it in the moment. So what I found myself doing quite a bit is when I see something, which I don't always do because I'm not their target audience group, right? When I do, taking screenshots of it. You can only see how many ads were shown to the Facebook Audience Network and what the results were. But you don't have a breakdown like Google would give you, for example, that it showed up on this site at this time and this site and this site and this site. You have no idea, unfortunately.
Yep. Yep.
So that's one
And
negative.
we'll wait and see. I don't know. Is Facebook going to crack that one? I mean, they've been
Yeah,
they've been good at rolling out advancements and keeping those things going.
absolutely.
So yeah.
I'm sure at some time they are going to do this and give you some kind of dashboard. I would hope to, see that, especially with them wanting to grow the ads. I mean, this has
Yep.
only been out for a couple of years. So 2014, I think they introduced the Audience Network. 2016, they opened it up quite a bit, and now we're just now starting to see more and more big heavy hitters, and Facebook even getting more serious about promoting this today. You know.
Yep. Yep. You want me to go into frequency cap, just kind of the potential, what they need to be aware of with that
Sure.
frequency cap there?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I think,
That's super important. Yeah.
yeah, this can be a negative, just something to be aware of, and that is that there is such a thing as a what they call a frequency cap on Facebook. That there is no frequency cap on the Facebook Audience Network, which means that you're unable to limit the number of times per day or per week a user sees your ads. Okay, so there could be the
Which is hard.
potential for them to feel like you're really intense on them, too much so that could be a possibility. Whereas with traditional newsfeed placements, there's a built-in frequency cap with a maximum what is it, 4, something like that, 4 views per day. Who like your Facebook page, 2 views per day for those who do not like your Facebook page, to moderate that. So so that's something to be aware of. I think that they'll continue to tweak those kind of things and give you what they can in terms of controls of those pieces there. So I think you'll see that
Yeah.
coming, but that's something to be aware of right now.
Yeah, so it's super important just to touch on that since you're mentioning the frequency cap. I mean, if to look at your relevancy score, and this may not make sense unless you've been in there, but Facebook gives you what's called a relevancy score, meaning how relevant are your ads to your audience, and they can tell that it's relevant because people are engaging with it. This is where a tool like Ad Espresso, I'll put a little plug in for them because we use it and we love it.
Antonio.
could come in really handy because not only can you get a relevancy score, which it's out of 10 points. I've never seen a perfect 10, but I have seen a 9, several 9s. But the relevancy score is saying how perfect is your ad to your network. And if you're not sure and you don't want to spend some money to get that result, you can use a tool like Ad Espresso where you plug in your ad and then you can have an ads expert review it for you to kind of let you know what your relevancy score would be and ways that you could tweak your ad based on their huge plethora of experience. And or maybe work with somebody that's done this before. I understand you may want to run your own ads, completely get it, but it may be wise before you start spending money that you try a few things out and you go with somebody that knows what they're doing, because there is a lot that's going on back there and it takes everything kind of set and precise right to make it really work. You can't just throw some money and put it out there and it work. So definitely check your relevancy score as it relates, because the last thing you want is a bad ad that has a poor relevancy score showing a crap ton of times to a lot of people that don't care. That's just going to not make them happy.
There you go. That was a whole bunch of negatives flowing right together there. Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry.
That's good. That's good. That's what it would be.
Another way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Now, do you want to maybe sharpen a little bit? Any more tips or anything that you want to drill into on tips for Facebook Audience Network?
Yeah. So, step one, be aware that they're there. Check out the links, see how it works. Then you have to get super, super specific, like we talk about here, on who your audience is. What are they reading? What are they watching? If this is going to be super important that you know who your buyer personas are and what they like, because that's how you're going to be able to target your ad to the right people. So you have to really drill down those things first before you even create your ad. And then you create your ad that will be relevant, helpful, serving, and score well on a relevancy score, because it is so relevant to that audience. So you have to know who they are first before you spend $1 on Facebook. And then, start small. Start with $100, right? And check it out. And maybe get some help from someone else that's done this a time or two that can really help you. And check it often. I would say, set up your alerts. I have mine sent to me every day for clients that have, a bigger budget that they're spending. Have it checked every single day, so you know how it's performing.
Yep. Yeah, it is. If that's an investment, you got to watch your investment. I think that's just a key piece in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Has there been anything? Yeah. Go ahead. No. I was going to ask if you've seen anything. No, I was going to say, have you seen anything else that's been like super crucial that people pay attention to or watch, or something that you advise on as well when people are doing this?
Yeah, well, I think it just comes back to, again, mobile optimized site. It talks about avoiding the audience network unless you're a fully mobile, and because the traffic arriving your site will be largely from mobile devices there. So so your website, your landing page needs to be mobile optimized there. And again, that's just kind of comes back to some of the core basics that we talk about from a digital marketing perspective. But here it is again, and coming at it from another angle.
Super smart you bring that up. We can go into that because that's it. If you have a great ad, but you're directing them to some place that isn't matching up to what's kind of drawing them in, then it's not going to convert. Marketing is what brings people into the door, but it's not selling them. Your site, your customer service, all that is what's going to sell it. So make sure that your site is matching up with that same user experience that they would expect to find.
The pieces got to work together. You just don't want to have something that all of a sudden there's a disconnect, and it doesn't work well. It must flow through the entire process well.
Absolutely, yeah. And there are a few free things that you can do, one that we've just found, and we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but didn't really dive into that, is setting up your custom audience on Facebook. So this is inside your Pages Manager, but you can actually set up what's called custom audience. So if you do drill down and know who that is, it may be beneficial for you to also set that up just in your Facebook page to tell Facebook who you're trying to talk to and who you're trying to reach. So then your content's going to show more often to that specific network. It's not saying it's not going to show to anyone that's outside of that, but it's going to show up to them more specifically. So I have a link as well that I'll provide on that and how to get that set up. I have a little video, but it's something free you can do right now. You don't have to run ads to do it. You can do it right on your page, and it might be, if you're not ready to dive in on the ads, at least start there. But as you're hearing with everything we're talking about, it's super important that you really understand who your audience is more than anything else.
Oh, I like that. And you got a video on it. I think that's a great add on here to help people, dive in deep there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What do we need to cover yet? I mean, it's already 4:30, but what do you want to cover yet? Anything that you feel like is a big gap point? Any questions out there that people had that we should make sure we get to?
Yeah, the only other thing I've seen that's still working, that I've noticed that's still working, are the Canvas ads are working really well, and 2, video is still working great. I don't know if you're seeing anything different on your end at all, or anyone else. Hi, hey Barb, good to see you here, and hi Jessica. All right. But yeah, I've seen those too.
Yeah, video as well just continues to be, and I think that's a threshold. Many businesses are still. I mean, you guys produce video, so that's awesome. I mean, but it's convincing clients to take that step to get into the video, and there's a need for that because that is performing well on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially and the integration with your Instagram too. There's going to be more with that. The stories carrying over, which we talked about. I don't know what you feel on that, but I just seen something by Michael Stelzner today that said he's not on Instagram as a person, right? He just uses it as a company, which is Social Media Examiner. So he is really liking seeing the integration of the Instagram stories within the Facebook stories. Sorry to change the subject a little bit there, but talking about Instagram made me think about it. But he's saying he's really liking seeing that integration because now he can experience the Instagram stories that he may not have been able to before because he's not on there personally. So something to check out too. But with your ads, and Audience Network or regular ads, you can integrate your ads on Facebook also to Instagram if you have that Instagram account connected.
Yep. No, I think those are all good points here. And I mean, Facebook Audience Network, folks, our goal here was to make sure you knew about this tool. We want to try to help you take a step beyond. You got to get past just doing some boosting and that type of thing and take a look at a little bit more advanced way to connect, the opportunities that are there with that, some of the boundaries of where it's at now, but again, they're showing high return, they're showing lower cost, and therefore something to take a look at.
Yeah, and if this is something you want to learn more about, I mean, we do have the Magnet Marketer Social Media Masterclass training where it does break down how to get those set up and walk through the step-by-step process, and some great trainers that you can look on the site if you want to reach out to them directly, or Mike or myself. But yeah, check it out. We hope you dive in. If you have questions on Facebook Audience Network or getting it set up, feel free to reach out to us. But that is our goal today, to talk to you about how you can double down and increase your community on Facebook. I thank you guys all for joining in with us today. If you found this video helpful, share it with a friend. And we hope you join us back next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're Magnet Marketers. Our goal is always to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. Thanks so much, Mike, for joining in.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here with you. Thanks, Cheval, for sticking with us every time. And we'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.
See ya.